please.
Because this whole thing about Eliezer, I mean, there's endless conversation that we could have about Eliezer, the trusted servant of who he was and what his backstory is, and this mission and the way that Abraham, made him swear an oath, that he won't bring Yitzchak back there, and what Eliezer had in mind is very complicated. Also, he wasn't such a simple person. All sorts of things. I know you're aware of all of this, but I want to just dwell on one point, because Eliezer makes up this test, as it were. It almost sounds like a kind of like divination, like he says to Hashem, like, if this is the scene I'm painting for you, God. That I should meet this girl by the well, which is a very deep thing, and she should say, "Oh, I'll give you to drink. So I'll also give you camels to drink." Right? Interestingly, Avraham didn't tell him that. So Eliezer wasn't a small person spiritually, because this is his own.
He ran all of Abraham's
enterprise.
He was like the foreman,
right.
if you will.
Right.
Yeah. He ran the whole ranch, so to speak.
Right. So it's like Abraham didn't instruct him what to say. He made that on his own. So he was some sort of spiritual giant on his own. Like he made up this whole test, as it were, for Hashem, But why did he? Okay, so everybody knows, like, it's a famous idea, and it doesn't take rocket science to understand. It's very beautiful, but very, very basic. Like, why did he do this? Because he's looking for a girl who wants to do kindness. He's looking for a kind soul in this world, if such a thing exists anymore. He's looking for somebody who will do a kindness, because that's the kind of household that she is going to become a part of. And if she's going to become a mother in Israel, if she's going to become a mate worthy of Yitzchak, Abraham's son, he has to be able to continue that legacy. And especially because maybe Eliezer knew on a deep level that Yitzchak is really gvura. Yitzchak is really din, like strength. And so he needs like a girl who's like more like soft, and she's going to do the chesed thing like Abraham. So he's thinking all these things, and he's saying to Hashem, may she come out and say, she sees this old, Eliezer wasn't young, she sees an old man, an old servant in the desert, right? Like, whoa, I'll give you water, sir. Like, so that's an acid test, but why did he add on the thing about the camels?
Well, why did he
also say?
You want me to answer?
I'm going to, yeah, but you can if you want.
I know the answer, but I want to hear yours because it's always better anyway. So.
Oh shucks. Oh shucks. You say the sweetest things. So why did he add that on? So on a simple level, there's a lot of people who say, oh, because do you know how much camels drink? And you know how long it takes to like water a camels, and this is a bunch of camels, so that's like, whoa, she's like really special. She's going to do that. That may or may not be so. I guess it is so, but there's a deeper way of understanding it and a simpler way to explain it as well, which is a tremendous lesson that ties into the main thing that I'm shooting for today, which is how we should be spending our lives, because we know that death is approaching. It's a fact of life. So there's two words in Hebrew that are confused very often. Chesed and rachamim. And in English, they're also confused. Now, okay, so in English, they're also confused. There's kindness and there's mercy or compassion, right? And there's a tendency for us to interchange them. There's a tendency for us to use them interchangeably and to think that they're the same thing, and they're not the same thing. And this is
one is active. One is proactive. Kindness to me is proactive, and mercy is like the not the afterthought, if you will, but it's
go ahead.
It has a kind of I can't find the words.
Can I give you a word? Half a kiss. I give you half a kiss on your forehead because you're almost there.
Okay.
The word that I'm looking for, that I suggest to you, is reactive.
Reactive, exactly. Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I mean. And this is a very, very deep idea. That even though we use them interchangeably, that's a mistake, because there is an attribute that a person could have, and let's call it rachamim, mercy, compassion, which is like, okay, I see, this is so deep. You have to open up your heart in the deepest way. This is one of the deepest lessons in the world. I've been living with this lesson for a long time now. I've been reflecting on this, right? Let's say you see somebody in the street, a beggar, and it really pulls at your heartstrings. A person suffering, a person living on a piece of cardboard, a person in dire straits, right? And so you help this person, right? You help this person. Now, you're a good person because somebody else might have walked by and done nothing. So it's not like you're not a good person. Believe me, there's plenty of people in the world that wouldn't even have given it another thought. So that's already something. But still in all, if you wouldn't have seen the person, you wouldn't have given them. And that's what I mean by reactive. In other words, there is a certain kind of situation that brings to the surface an attribute which is basically that I can't stand to see someone suffering, and because I'm a good person, and so I want to alleviate that person's misery, but on the deepest level, because the sages really split hairs in trying to understand a human makeup to be the best that we could be, on the deepest level, maybe it's about me, because I can't stand it, and so I'm not comfortable. I'm not balanced, happy, relaxed, and so it's really not so pure, right? But what Torah is aiming for in everything that it teaches us about kindness, as exemplified by Abraham and Sarah and his household, what Torah is aiming for and trying to ingrain in us is looking for every possible opportunity all the time and not waiting for an external factor to motivate us. And so that's why it includes also kindness to animals. That's why it includes kindness to strangers. That's why it includes random acts of kindness, because there's a difference between a person, and again, it's a wonderful person who reacts, because there's so many horrible people that don't react, right? Because they're heart dead, soul dead, right? But still, it's the Torah is looking for to teach a person not to wait and not to react, but to want to know that the world is as best as it could be, that people are in the best situation that they could be. That's Hashem. That's Hashem. To a desire to be benevolent to every single creation and creature. And so that's why this was a test that Eliezer came up with the camels, because that's going much further than, because he could have said to himself, listen, she's a good girl, okay, but she sees me, and after all, I'm an old man, I'm about to keel over, I'm thirsty, it's the desert. But to take upon herself something else like that shows that she cannot pass by an opportunity to do kindness to everyone. That's the idea. And as he's saying about himself, I maybe motivate her for a feeling of compassion, but not the camels. Camels can go a long time without water. And so, but I'm saying this one point is amazing to reflect on. That's why I say I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I've been dealing with it in different classes. The idea that we get these two concepts confused, but real kindness isn't about waiting or about being motivated by any kind of external factor. Even if it's a wonderful reaction, still it's a reaction. And we're not supposed to react, we're supposed to initiate.
Yeah, the tent of Abraham was a device he set up that would help him be ready to do. He got up in the morning thinking, how can I be kind even to the stranger that might approach? He makes provision. He thinks of ways to be ready to be kind to people. I mean that's and so Eliezer was looking for that DNA in that woman, that girl, and someone who expressed the kind of worldview that Abraham did. You know, he wanted to reinforce that DNA in the descendants, because that was, what is the saying, that the one of the pillars. Kindness sustains the world.
Right. One of the three columns that holds up the world.
Right.